Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Name One Player podcast. My name is Nicole. I am your host. And first and foremost, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who is here and everybody who is listening today. I am so happy that you're here. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back. That means the absolute world to me. That you listened to an episode in the past and you thought, hey, that episode was really cool. I'm going to come back for some more. I'm so glad. I think that was a really wise decision that you made. So thank you. If you are a new listener, and this is the first time you've ever listened to the Name One Player podcast, I just want to say a absolutely huge welcome to you. Thank you for listening today. Regardless of how you found the podcast, I'm so glad that you did. The Name One Player podcast is a place for women to talk about the sports teams that they love without ever having a man ask them to name one player. Because, when I was starting to dabble in the world of talking about sports, mainly football, I found that it was really hard to just say my opinion without men giving their opinion on my opinion being less valid than their opinion, strictly because the fact that I am a woman. So I decided enough is enough, and I made this podcast. And every week we have an incredible woman come on here. Maybe she loves sports, maybe she works in sports, maybe she talks about sports. It can be whatever. We get a whole mixed bag, and we talk about the sports teams that we love, and it's just an absolute blast. Today, it is warm. It is a very warm day. I was going to say I'm not going to do the conversion for you, but I will. Today, it hit 30 degrees where I live, Celsius. And that is 86 degrees Fahrenheit, which I live in Canada. So 30 degrees is quite warm for us. And I love it. I absolutely love the heat. However, I moved into a new apartment a few months ago. This is the first time that it got really warm in this apartment. And I'm starting to feel like I may need to invest in an air conditioner. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm a little toasty. As you can see, I'm wearing a little sundress, Name One Player pink. I think it's super cute. But I'm warm. I'm very warm. But that's okay. We have my ice water here. And I don't want to open my window because there's people outside. Just don't want any additional noise coming through because this microphone, she picks up the good stuff, but also all the little background noises, so I don't want to open up my window, and I also don't want to put on my fan. I probably will put on my fan the second I'm done recording, but that's okay. I'd rather be too hot than too cold. I know that's a debate that people always have. I'm a too warm kind of gal. I love the heat. I love the sun. Being cold, I'm just miserable. Being warm, I'm can be miserable, but at least I'm like, oh, I'm grateful that I'm not too cold. So, positives to everything, right? Anyways, today's episode, we are doing something that we've never done before, okay? We are having a guest on for the third time. And the reason I'm doing that is because her 2 episodes that she's had previously were so well received. I got so many people reaching out to me and being like, we love this girl. She's funny, she's cool, and I completely agree with you guys. The Stanley Cup Finals are currently happening. By the time that we're recording this, it is June 8th. The Oilers and the Panthers, they are tied 1-1 in this series. And I knew I wanted to get an Oilers fan on the podcast, and I knew I wanted to get a Panthers fan on the podcast. And then I realized I've had a Panthers fan on the podcast 2 times already. And again, so many people reached out to me and were like, wow, we love Rachel. So I will always listen to my listeners and the feedback that you give me. And the feedback that I've gotten was that you enjoyed Rachel being on the episodes. And I thought, okay, let's get her on to talk about the fact that the Panthers are in the Stanley Cup Finals again against the Oilers. Again, who would have thought? And Rachel was on the podcast quite a few weeks ago now. This was before the playoffs started. We did our first round picks and our prediction for the finals. We'll go over that. We'll get into the episode. You do need to keep listening if you want to know how correct our predictions are. I guess you could just go back to the episode that I did with Rachel. I believe it was episode 24, maybe? I don't know. And you can go back and listen for yourself how correct we were, or you can just wait. You can continue listening and wait and see how correct we were. But yeah, Rachel has mentioned in previous episodes, and this was some of the feedback that I got about Rachel. She's a new hockey fan, and people really liked her perspective of being a new fan and the perspective of learning and meeting people who can either be super supportive of you becoming a fan of a sport and helping you learn, or you can meet the fans who are just like not as nice about it. So we're gonna talk to Rachel about how her first experience watching the Stanley Cup playoffs has been and how it feels to have one of her favorite teams do so well in the playoffs and make it to the finals again. So yeah. I think that's all that I really have to say in my introduction. Rachel's ready and waiting for us, so let's just get her on here. Reminds me of that TikTok sound with Kris Jenner. Why don't you just call Taylor up? So we're just gonna call Rachel up. Hello, Rachel. You ready? Okay, cool. All right, everybody, without further ado, please welcome Rachel. All right, everyone. I've said this in the last episode that I did with Rachel. Rachel, I've already recorded my introduction as well, but we just spent an hour talking before we hit record. And we did that the last episode. We did that your first episode.
I know, we just catch up.
This is your third episode of the Name on Player podcast. Nobody has ever been on 3 episodes before, but I'm say very in my introduction, everybody loves you. I've gotten so much feedback being like, I love that girl Rachel.
Really?
When you come on, yes, they like the perspective of, being a new fan, starting to learn, but also just being confident in yourself and in your knowledge.
Aw, that makes me really happy. I honestly wasn't sure how people would react to when I come on.
I knew that I wanted to get a Panthers fan on to talk about the Stanley Cup finals. Let's go into how watching the Stanley Cup playoffs has been for you. This is your first year really locking in and watching, correct?
Oh, yeah. And honestly, I was saying this to my friend Kylie. Like, I'm kind of happy that this season was my first season, as much as I would have preferred last season just because of how the Canucks did, and they did really great. And I'm very sad that I didn't get to experience that because I went to Europe last year for like 2.5 weeks during the Stanley Cup playoffs. I would be pissed off if I couldn't watch the games. I just personally, of course I can watch highlights and playbacks and stuff like that, and I do. And also too, trying to watch the games would have been annoying because of the time difference. So honestly, I am very happy because I really get to watch it this season and be immersed in it. I'm happy because I actually get to tune in and really kind of see how it works. I didn't even really know how it worked last season with the rounds and the bracket and stuff like that. I thought it was the 2 best teams at the end play, and that's it. I didn't realize that it was pairs before the very, very final. I feel like it's been a good learning curve for this season, and the next season, hopefully my Canucks, we can lock in.
Well, in the previous episode, you touched on how you have your 3 children. You have the Panthers, who are still in the playoffs. They're in the finals. We'll see.
My eldest children, who I never worry about.
I was going to say your eldest. Okay, then your middle child is the Canucks. Is that right?
The Devils.
Oh, middle child is the Devils. Okay. And then your youngest is the Canucks. So we have the Devils, we have the Canucks, they're out. So I would imagine you have a lot more spare time now in this offseason.
It has been really nice to not be constantly immersed. I mean, as much as I didn't mind, because when I hyperfixate on something, I really hyperfixate on things. So if I wasn't watching the games, I was on hockey Twitter. If I wasn't on hockey Twitter, I was consuming so much hockey content on YouTube, TikTok. It was excessive. It really was. So in that sense, I'm happy that I can just kind of I can check Twitter 2-3 times a day quickly, see what's going on, see what the girlies are saying, tune into the games on the game days that are 2 days apart instead of just every single day. It was a lot. So I am enjoying it being a little bit laid back, but it just sucks because the Panthers are such a team that I don't worry about often, and they are so consistent. I would say that I'm just not as attached to them because I just know they're going to be fine. There hasn't been crazy injuries. They always do well. So I feel like it's less exciting for me to be watching them in the playoffs because it's not like they went through the struggle to get here.
Okay,
Even
fair
the
enough.
Devils, too. I would have been like, oh my God, you guys struggled to get here without Jack Hughes, which, by the way, they did not do very well. But you know what? They tried. They really tried.
Yes.
Going against the Canes, it was going to be a tough feat. We all knew that. And going against the Canes without Jack Hughes was going to be hard. So I was just, A for effort. I clapped cheer. I love them so much. But let's be honest. Like, I'm a very realistic mother. I'm like, you're not going to get to the end, okay?
Well,
like,
we will get into
when I
our
say this.
predictions. We will get into our first round predictions. We actually predicted the first round and then our Stanley Cup final. And you know what? I actually am like sort of impressed. I mean, you had a couple more.
I don't remember, so you need to tell me what we said. I don't remember.
So we have here our predictions. So when you were on last time, I guess this was about maybe a month ago now, we went through the first round, we set our picks, and then our Stanley Cup finals prediction. So I will say
Let's
here,
hear it.
first round, we had Jets versus the Blues. We both said the Jets. We were both correct, and they did win. Okay, first round, we didn't bother continuing on.
Yeah.
Second team on the West for the first round, we had the Avalanche versus the Stars, and we talked for a long time about
that one still breaks my heart.
Landeskog. Yes, but I was looking into it. He is supposed to be coming back next season. Like I kind of was expecting that he would
back.
He would be done after this, like if they didn't go too far in the playoffs. That he's old. He's an old man now. That he'd be okay,
but he's hot as fuck. Also,
retire.
can I just say he is daddy vibes still. Sorry.
Oh, I love him. Like you don't
He's
understand,
so hot.
Rachel. Like I have been loving Gabriel Landeskog. Like,
did you watch his documentary?
No.
Oh my God, you have to watch it.
I didn't. You did tell me to watch it, and
it's good.
I also have not watched Face Off. I watched one episode, and I really do need to watch Connor McDavid's episode though before the end of the playoffs.
You still haven't heard the iconic dig in speech?
No, I mean I've seen it all over. I've seen it on TikTok. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen him throw everything and all. I've seen it.
It's not good enough.
But I did not watch it on Face Off on Prime, so I do need to get to that. But anyways, we both were wrong.
I know.
We both hoped for Avalanche to get past the first round. It
was close. It was really close, though, I will say. Okay, like they were hot. They were.
Yeah, but not hot enough.
I was actually really sad about that. And also, I have never gotten more hate online than I have being an Avalanche fan.
Really?
Yeah, no, like people were like I had to get off Twitter when that whole series was going on because people were so awful about the Avs and Avs fans.
There's a lot more Dallas Stars fans that I realized were out there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was surprised.
No, it was really weird. Like people were really awful about Avs fans and like the Avs as a team. Like I couldn't read it anymore because it was just making me sad. If you like tweeted one thing that was like happy about the Avs, it was like fuck the Avs.
Really?
Like, fuck the Avs suck. And it was just like, oh my God, I can't be on here.
Okay, well, good to know. I mean, I'm just looking forward to seeing Landeskog next season. Like that's really about it. Okay, then the next matchup that we had was the Vegas Golden Knights versus the Minnesota Wild. I was hoping for the Wild. You did say Vegas Golden Knights. You were very adamant that the Wild would not win. I was just hoping that maybe they would.
No.
Looking back, I think if I was using, rational thoughts, I probably shouldn't have predicted that the Wild would win.
But a lot of people were really rooting for Minnesota. Like,
yeah,
I think it was like an underdog story kind of vibe, but it was just and they're an underdog for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I do like that. An underdog is fun, but there's a reason they're an underdog. They're not the best. But that's okay. So Vegas did go on to the second round. Then we had the Kings versus Edmonton. And we actually both said the Kings. But I will say, you actually, because I said at the beginning of going through this, I was like, look, I have not looked up one statistic. I've seen maybe a collective of 5 hockey games this entire season. I'm going off of vibes. And you said that if you were going off of statistics, you would pick the Oilers. But you were like, I'm going to go off of vibes, and I'm going to pick the Kings. And I was like, I've been going off of vibes this whole time, so I'll go with the Kings too. So maybe, again, if we actually decided to just look at the statistics, we both would have said the Oilers, and we would have...
I mean, I just don't like the Oilers fan base. Like I don't mind the Oilers players, and I don't mind the Oilers as a team and an organization. Like, sorry to all my Oilers girls out there. I'm sure there's many nice ones.
And I will also say, too, yeah, I've met really nice female Oiler fans. I'm not sure if I've met any, like, really amazing male Oiler fans. Nobody's coming to my mind. Maybe I have. I don't know. But we will actually get into the fact that you're a Canucks fan and the fact that the Oilers are in the Stanley Cup Finals. But let's just continue on with our predictions for our first round. We then had Leafs versus Senators. I wrote quick. I don't know. Oh no, because you were like quick. You're like Leafs. You didn't even give it a second thought. You were correct. I also said Leafs. I think I was just going off of what you said there.
Senators were the underdogs that people were like kind of hoping. And you know what? I would have been happy. Like if they had actually won, I would have been like slay. But unfortunately, again, they're the underdogs for a reason.
Yeah. And then we had Panthers and Tampa Bay. You were very adamant that the Panthers would win that matchup, and you were correct. I just went off of what you said as well. And you actually, like, speaking of the Panthers coach, you talked about how good the team chemistry was because of the coaching. So you had some really great points for the Panthers. So I went with them, and we were both correct in that. Then we had Washington and Montreal.
The most boring matchup ever.
Boring. We did say that we barely cared and that we didn't even really want to make a prediction. But we both predicted Montreal, and we were both incorrect. But that's okay. And then you went against your middle child for the round after this.
I'm so sorry. I love y'all, but
Devils. But you were right. You were quick to say that the Devils we're not going to win against the Hurricanes.
They just weren't. Like, as much as I love them and I wanted to will them to win, I just was like, it's just not your year. It's just not your year.
Did they win any game? Did they win?
They did. They got a lot of injuries during the series as well. Like, they were just dropping like flies. There was just no hope, unfortunately. So, as much as I was really hoping, the Canes just were really good all season. They looked amazing during the series. And we didn't have our stars, unfortunately. If we had our stars, I think it would have been a very different story. I probably would have had a lot more hope. Yeah. But losing your star power, it just wasn't it. Like, Markey, their goalie, was popping his puss the whole series. He did everything he could. Like, he was, like, actually, like, killing it. And it made me sad for him. Like, he was crashing out every 5 seconds because, like, his team was doing fuck all. Like, he was just so mad. Like, so I feel for Markey, and he didn't do any wrong. So, there was some good players that I really was like, okay, you guys, like, really picked it up. But for the majority as a team, you didn't look good. And I don't think Sheldon Keefe was very happy with them either. So, that's okay.
Well, you know what? There's always next year.
There's always next season.
Yeah, and maybe one of these days, Quinn will be a New Jersey Devil too, and then we'll have all three brothers.
I don't think he will. Personally, I don't think he will. But I also wouldn't be, like, so shocked if he was. Like, I would just be like, oh my god, didn't see that coming, but okay.
Maybe all 3 of them head to Edmonton. What would you do?
Oh, no.
All right. No. Then, so I guess you had, of the 8 teams, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 correct. I don't know what percentage that is, but it's more than 50. So that's better than so many people. What did I have? One of them I didn't even make a guess on, Hurricanes versus Devils. I didn't give
Yeah, because I think you said that you didn't know anything at all about that.
Yeah, I didn't. I honestly just didn't care. So I was like, I thought about putting it as a yes for me, because I think I probably would have said that the Hurricanes would win, but I feel like it's not fair to actually count that because I didn't say. But what I will say, We predicted our finals, our final matchup.
Mm-hmm.
You said Jets versus Capitals. That's not correct.
No,
A little
no.
off, but that's okay. That's okay. I did say Avalanche versus Panthers. So I did predict the Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. However, in the episode, and I encourage everyone to go back and listen if you haven't listened, I said I like that, but then you started to talk about Matthew Tkachuk, and then I was like, ew, no, I don't want to root for the Panthers. Like, this guy sounds like he absolutely sucks.
No, he doesn't.
So then I changed my mind. But just for everyone to know, I did predict the Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals.
I think I had amnesia. Like, I actually don't know. I had, like, a brain injury or something. I don't know why I said the Jets and the Capitals.
That's
I think I was
okay.
trying to be quirky and different, but
Yeah.
the Capitals was, like, actually, sadly, like, the weirdest prediction ever. Like, girls, don't hold me to that. That was literally fake. The
But
Jets
you know
I could
what?
see, there was statistical fact there, but the Capitals, I don't really know what's going on when I said
But
that.
I also think too, sometimes you just gotta throw those like completely oddball, out of nowhere predictions in there because nobody's making them. And then
That's
if you're
true.
right, you can say that you were correct. But, and actually in one of the more recent episodes that I did as well, I was talking to an Oilers fan, and she was just talking about how she hated Matthew Tkachuk. And I did give you a bit of a shout out, and I was like, no, my friend Rachel says that, like, deep down, he's a really nice guy.
Oh, and NHL has been doing everything in their power to push that narrative. Like, they have been pumping out the sweetheart Matthew Tkachuk videos, and I'm like, girls, I hope you're
narrative-
eating your words. They
Yeah.
put out like a whole Mother's Day Chantel Kachuk focused video of them like, we love our mom, and like, it's the cutest thing ever. No, it's so sweet. And like all of the interviews, they're like literally like shoving it down fans' throats, like, you love them. And I'm here for it. I'm like, I hope all you girls are eating your words because they literally are coming off like sweethearts. Like, they're so sweet, and I get it. Like I said, I think said last time, I get it. And even watching the series, like now, there's some times when I'm like, Matthew, I can't defend you. You gotta get the fuck out of that crease. Stop it. You're being so annoying. But at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I know what he's doing. He's just a little shithead. Like, at the end of the day, he's a big sweetie who's just a big dummy shithead that, like, you just need to, like, accept that. Like, if fans watched and they're like, he is just going out there to be annoying, but then you, like, actually know his, like, off-ice personality, then you would probably like him, too. Like, he's literally just, like, that guy at school that's, like, oh my god, he's so annoying, but, like, he's the class clown. Like, he's funny. And the other things, too, playing with him, same with Brad Marchand. Like, playing with him is very different than being the opposing team of him.
Okay.
Because he rides for his team. Like you know, like, he will go to bat. He will go to war for his guys. Like, he gives everything to the Panthers. Like, he is such a competitor. And he's very similar to Quinn in that way of, like, my dad told me there's two things in life to be is like a good teammate and like have a good heart and be kind and respectful to people. And he like really takes it to heart, except for on ice. He's like, I'm going to be a good teammate and I'm going to compete. So I get it. Okay. Like, I really do get it. And I've said this in my podcast. I wish I could hate him. Like, I really do, because all the hate I get of being a Matthew Tkachuk lover is like awful. Like, I'm so over it. I'm so over everyone hating on him. I'm so over everyone hating on the Panthers. I'm so over being called a bandwagoner and like, man, you like Matthew Tkachuk. Like, yes, I do. And so what? So
Interesting.
What?
Okay. You know what? I think it's good that you are sticking to your guns on this, because with the amount of hate that this man gets, it would be so easy for you, Rachel, to be like, okay, yeah, fine, I don't like him.
Fuck
but no,
guy, yeah.
You're doubling down and you're like, no, this is my opinion and I'm gonna stick to it. And
I just like, because I care about the players. Like, for me, like, as a player, when he's on the ice, I hate him. I'm like, dude, this is why everyone hates you. But like, if I like someone in real life, same thing. If I like someone, if a bunch of people don't like them, I don't really fucking care. I'm like, yeah, I like them. So like, for me, it's not hard for me to double down, because I'm just like, at the end of the day, I like him as a person, and I like him off ice, and like as on ice, he's a good player for the Panthers. Like, your teammate may get beat the fuck up by him, but then
I was just, maybe your player needs to learn how to fight. I don't know. Well, that's what I was just gonna ask is, does he cause injuries? Like, is he just a pest getting in your face? Yeah, he injures players.
Oh yeah, he made a really bad hit during the during the series against Tampa. Like, he intentionally did this big hit, and I was like, this is one of the times that I was like, Maddie, I can't defend you,
Yeah.
bitch. Like, that was insane what you did. He didn't get in trouble for it, which I thought was like not good. Like, everyone was like, burn him at the stake because he didn't get in shit for it, which he should have. He really should have. It was so intentional. But I don't know. Like, I think that a lot of the time he doesn't really mean to, like, really injure. I think it's just like, okay, if I send this guy flying, then I send him flying, not my problem. Like, and he takes it too. Like, that's the thing, is he's not one of those people that like puts hits and then doesn't take any. Like, he will take it and he will like be on ice like limping around. Like, he is a competitor. So I think that makes me like him too. Is it's not like he's just like dishing it out and then just like, oh, I don't want to get hits. Like, he does. He takes it for his team.
With Matthew Tkachuk, I see a lot of people, and you're in a different circumstance because you like legitimately are a Panthers fan. They are your eldest child. But I see a lot of people saying, how can you be a Canucks fan and in this Stanley Cup Finals rooting for the Panthers and Matthew Tkachuk? Because when he was on the Calgary Flames, he apparently was just super annoying and all the Canucks hated him. But I did just look it up. He never actually like injured any of the Canucks players. He just was super annoying and targeted the best players. But he does that on every team. So, and actually too, do you know when he moved to the Panthers?
I think it was the season before last.
Okay, so
like it's pretty recent.
Okay, so you weren't watching him when he was on the Calgary Flames?
No, not at all. No.
So I wonder if you saw him on the Calgary Flames, if you'd have a different perspective. If you'd have a different perspective.
I think
as you become a Vancouver Canucks fan, I'd say the Flames are their biggest rivalry, one of them. And if you then see this man on the Flames targeting the Canucks players, if you'd be like, fuck that guy. And then he moved to the Panthers, if you'd be a fan.
I think that the team has nothing to do with it. Because again, like, I care about them as people. So if I hadn't seen Face Off and I hadn't liked him as like a person, then I'd be absolutely bothered. That's exactly how I felt about so many other players who targeted, particularly Quinn all season. And I was so pissed about how the Canucks didn't stand up for him other than like JT Miller and like a couple other people. Yeah. So I think I probably wouldn't like him. But the fact that I had already seen Face Off and I started to like Matthew Tkachuk as a person, the team doesn't matter to me. Like, he could be on the Canucks and I would still like him because I like him. It'd be like Quinn going to what's a team I don't really love? I don't know, Dallas Stars. I'd be like, okay, but I like Quinn.
Yeah.
So for me, that doesn't really affect it too much. But the fact that he doesn't touch Quinn or Jack when he plays against them, that says a lot for me too. Like, if he was throwing these crazy hits on Jack and Quinn, I probably would be like, fuck this guy. Like, this is our star player. This is your friend. Like, you're being weird. But the fact that they're very close friends, like Brady and Quinn and Jack and Matthew, they're all very close. Their families are very close. When they play against each other, they pretty much don't even go near them. Like, they don't really even shove them into the boards too much. Like, they stay pretty clear of him. So I think that has a lot of impact too. Is like, if he was actually being crazy, I probably would be like, yeah, I don't like this guy. But he's really nice to my favorite players. So I'm like, well, I don't have anything to say because it's more like, hey, bro, what's up? When they play against each other versus like, let me ram you into the boards and like knock you around and all this stuff. Like, so I think that Matthew very much, that's what he's actually just such a little like teenager. I think he picks and chooses who he wants to pick on. Like, I think instead of being like, I'm going to pick every star player, no matter what team, I'm going to put hits on them. I think it's like, do I like you? Do I not like you? Like, it's very like, it's personnel, I think, more than ever.
I think that makes sense. I think that makes total sense. And I think, the people in Vancouver, I do think are kind of struggling to figure out who to cheer for. Some people are very openly cheering for the Oilers because they're a Canadian team, but some of them are very much like you, that are like, the Oilers fan base sucks. Like, they... I would say have a rivalry with the Canucks as well too, like being in the same division.
Absolutely.
And it's like, like, why would the Canucks cheer for them? But that's the biggest point of contention that I hear with cheering for the Panthers. It's like, how can you do it with Tkachuk? But hearing what you say, I don't know. It doesn't sound as bad as what everybody else is saying. But maybe you're
I think
biased. Maybe I shouldn't listen to what you're saying. I don't know.
well, no, I absolutely am biased, but I also think that it has to do with like that, like that's my team, right? Like I think that
True.
that other
Yes.
teams
Very true.
have players like that are just as like goddamn annoying, and like they
Of
go out there
course.
and just,
Every
like,
team does.
so I think
Definitely.
that like if he was on your team, that's what I mean. Like when I was saying like he competes for his team, he's like the Panthers guys love him, like the fans love him because it's for their team.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're the opposing team, it's not very nice for you. It's just not. And also too, like I understand why people are like, oh, the Oilers are a Canadian team, I want to cheer for them. That's your prerogative. Like slay, love that for you. But I don't love the like, oh, you're Canadian, how are you not cheering for this Canadian team? Because I simply don't like that team. Like, why do I have to like them just because I'm from Canada? Like, if I wasn't a Canucks fan, why do I have to like them because I'm from Vancouver Island? Like, that's stupid to me. Like, if I don't like a team, then I don't like a team. If I want to like the Panthers or the Chiefs or whatever team, then I have every right to. I shouldn't have to like them just because of where I'm from. If anything, it makes you look like a sheep. Like a fucking sheep, like that. You can't make up your own opinion about why you like a team other than, oh, they're from where I'm from. Like, stupid. Like,
man, that's hilarious. Also, too, I just remember in 2011 when the Canucks were in the finals, I remember driving in the car with my mom, and then she listens to like talk radio or whatever, old people stuff.
Yeah,
And
my dad
they
did too.
did this whole thing that was like they did a poll of Canada, and it was like, are you rooting for the Canucks because they're the Canadian team? And it was like this like 80% said no. They're like, no, I don't care that they're Canadian. I don't like the Canucks. So that was like, whoa, like, okay, relax. But I kind of am like, and again, I can't remember what year. It's been a long ass time. Let me just look it up. Do you remember how long it's been since the Canadian team won the cup? When
A long time. I don't remember.
Yeah, 1993. It was Montreal. I'm not necessarily rooting for the Oilers because they are a Canadian team. Well, I guess actually I am. I guess what I'm saying is I am. Just because I'm like, hockey is Canada's sport.
Yes, and I get that.
Why the hell is the cup in Florida for 2 years in a row? In Florida? Are you kidding? In Florida. Like, nah. So I just think a Canadian team should win the Stanley Cup.
I get that, and that's why I am not unhappy about the Oilers. Like, that's the other thing, is as much as I don't like the Oilers fan base, like, I'm not unhappy with what the matchup is. It makes sense in the fact that they're both the only two teams that legitimately look like Stanley Cup finalists. Like,
yeah, fair enough.
At the end of the day, like the how Oregon, like watching the Panthers, I love watching the Panthers and the Oilers now too. Like I've really enjoyed watching the games. Like I have nothing bad to say about the Oilers players or the Oilers team. Like they're a very good team.
Okay.
It's just the fans. But like the Panthers look like they deserve to be there. Like watching them play is like so satisfying. Like they're so on it. When they go back into the dressing room after having a bad period, like you know for a fact Paul Maurice is screaming and yelling at them to pull up their big boy pants and get back out there, and they do. They get back out there. They follow direction. They're very structured. They're very disciplined. They're very physical. Like I just like if every team played like that, like I would love every team, but not every team plays like that, and so it frustrates me. I'm literally watching the two teams, and I'm like, pull it up, Canucks. Like this is what winners look like. You want to look like a winner? You looked like losers. There's a reason these are the last two teams, because they look and they train like winners.
And for 2 years in a row. Like, that's what I think people...
The consistency. Like, they're very consistent, and, like, that's what you need to be a winner. Is, like, consistently, like, trying hard. Half the teams during the regular season, you could tell they were burning out. They were looking dead, tired, slow. They don't want to be there. They were so spotty here and there. But the Panthers, like, they would have a bad game, and it wasn't good enough for them. Like, you could see that it was like, we had a bad game. Okay, and instead of, like, dwelling on it, being like, we're losers, we suck, and we, like, had a bad game, like, the Canucks, love you guys, but sorry. Same with the Devils. They had a little bit losing streak there, too, like, oh, woe is us. No, the Panthers are like, we didn't like that feeling, and we're going to go out there, and we're going to win next game. And they do, and they execute. So, I don't know. I don't know what their secret formula is, if it's just the selection of guys. I think that Paul Maurice is very selective of who he picks. I think there was a reason that Brad Marchand was... Like, he put out there, like, the only team I will let myself get traded to is Florida because they are winners, and I want to be on a winning team. And Florida went, yes, that is the kind of attitude and man that we want. Yeah. And I think all the players are very similar. Like, they're all very, very similar. Like, the Canucks team looks like a beer league team that don't know each other that got randomly selected from a line, they all got mashed together. Whereas literally the Panthers is a fraternity. Like, that is a fraternity. Like, Bama Rush is exactly what the Panthers are. And so I think that like family, like we go to war with our family vibe, I think that really plays into it. And same with the Oilers too. Like, they're very much like family. Like, they have all been together for a really long time, especially McJesus and Draisaitl. They've been together for a really long time. Their wives are besties, booed up themselves. So I feel like it just all contributes to the end result. And I think that more teams need to focus on that, maybe, instead of doing all these trades 24/7. I mean, that's what they did to the Avs. Like, the Avs were a very close-knit team. Then they got rid of Rantanen. Like, okay, that was your brother. Why did you do that? You know? And so I feel like the Canucks, same thing. They got rid of all the brothers that they were all super close, and they're like, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. You're traded. And you're left with, like, nothing. No chemistry. No history.
They keep saying, like, rebuild year, but rebuild years are important, but then once you rebuild, you have to kind of, like, keep it.
Yeah, you can't just be every year rebuilding.
They haven't found that, like, perfect formula of rebuilding or whatever, but I don't know. Okay, so Game 3 is tomorrow. The series is tied 1-1.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch. I really have no idea what's going to happen. Not that I don't care what's going to happen. I am very invested, and I do really care what's going to happen. But either way, you know, either the Panthers win and my very good friend Rachel is very happy, or the Oilers win and Canada has won a Stanley Cup again. So,
and that's the thing. I won't be unhappy if the Oilers win. They deserve to win. Like, if they looked like they didn't deserve to win, of course I'd be pissed off. But they literally do look like winners. Like, I genuinely don't know who will win because they're so closely matched for different reasons. Like, there's times where I'm like, the Panthers look better in this regard, and then there's other times where I'm like, oh, the Oilers look better there. So I think that they're just both really strong. They're strong in similar ways, but then there's also, like, little differences between them, and that I think will be the determining factor. What exactly of those will be what makes one of them win, I don't know. Like, I couldn't really say, like, oh, their stamina, or, like, I can't really point out exactly what those differences are that will ultimately be the deciding factor. But I'm not going to be unhappy if it's either of them. I think, if anything, like, it would be great if the Oilers won because Canada and also the Panthers won it last year. And similar to the Chiefs, I think that they do need to be a little bit humbled. Like, they are, like I said, the frat boy winners.
You don't need to win the Stanley Cup twice in a row. You just don't.
Yeah, I just...
For what? It'll be a good outcome either way. But last thing I wanted to ask you. When we recorded our episode last time, I don't believe your podcast had actually launched at that point. So now you have a podcast, and tell me all about it. Tell everyone listening all about your podcast.
Well, okay, so my podcast is a hockey girls podcast. When I started getting into sports, like, I obviously ran to YouTube and Spotify and literally typed in, like, girls sports podcast. Then when I was getting into hockey, I was, like, typing in, like, girls hockey podcast. And there's only a few. Like, there's, like, Two Girls Chirping. Shout out Two Girls Chirping. I love them so much. Hot Girls Hockey, which they're a Devils girls podcast. So I was just, like, not seeing a lot of girls sports and girls hockey podcasts. And so I was like, well, I love to yap a lot, and I love to yap about hockey a lot, and I really enjoyed being on your podcast because my goal of, like, showing up in these spaces in sports and online as a female that's pretty valley girl, I guess. I just want to be able to be a resource for girls who are like me, or females in general that are nervous to come into the community of sports, to make it approachable and easily digestible and easy to understand and easy to, like, engage with. So for me, like, the podcast is very much like FaceTime vibes.
I love that.
That's what it's meant to be. Like, it's not meant to be super serious. It's supposed to be like, we come and we talk about hockey in a way that makes sense, because we're not talking stats all day, every day. Like, stats are obviously mentioned because, like, you're watching a sport. Like, the stats do matter, but it's not stat heavy. It's literally just, like, yapping about hockey drama, because that's the other thing that I was really missing when I was looking up all these podcasts, is it was, like, very fact-based, which I absolutely love. Your podcast was so helpful when it comes to, like, actually understanding the sport of, like, football primarily, but also other sports, and, like, dipping your toes into how those actually work and, like, people in those spaces and in those sports. And same with Two Girls Chirping. Like, they went through episode by episode. They covered the history of, like, each team. And I was, like, taking notes, you know, like, I was learning things about all these teams that I usually wouldn't, again, really look into because it seems scary. It seems daunting. Where do I even start to look for that information, right? So those are very informative and helpful. But I was like, okay, I need a podcast that just kikis. Like, I just need them to, like, yap about, like, Quinn's buck-ass bob and their ugly-ass, like, shoes and socks. Like, I need to talk about these things. Like, this is breaking news. Like, I need to discuss this with someone. So I was like, okay, well, I want to talk about it, and I love to yap, and I love hockey, so I'm going to just talk about it. So yeah, the podcast is, like, really supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be, like, you throw it on when you're getting ready, or you're just, like, you're bored and you just want to listen to something, you're cooking, and you want to talk about hockey, you want to hear stuff about hockey, you want to know who's winning, and I give my unsolicited opinion on lots of things, and same with Kylie. So, and my friend that is my co-host, we actually met through hockey Twitter. She is very knowledgeable. Like, I'm so happy that she's my co-host, because she is, like, one of the historic fans, like a long-time hockey fan for numerous years, and like her sister played, a lot of family members played. Like, she knows crazy history about not only the Canucks, but like Devils and like other teams and players. Like, she's followed them all for a very long time. But I think it's nice because then it kind of takes the pressure off of like needing to come to the episode prepared with like all these notes and things like that, because we are just really recapping what's going on in the hockey world, whether that be like the games or player drama or team drama or whatever. And so I just really hope that it makes it easy for people to listen to it if they don't know hockey, to just like be like, oh, this looks interesting. It's a girls hockey podcast. Like, I want to hear what this is about. And we're yapping about lots of different things in a very like easy way, because it's supposed to be like FaceTime yapping with your friends, so that hopefully when they listen to it, they go like, oh my god, I want to go and look into that on Twitter, or oh my god, like that player Matthew Tkachuk, I want to go and see what he's like, look up clips on YouTube. I just hope that it inspires other girls to like be like, this is easy to engage with, because this random girl and her friend are able to yap about it for like an hour, that I can too. And then they go and look into it, and I hope that makes them want to join like the community. And also I think it's nice because like when we talk, it can literally be like, oh my god, yeah, like, did you see who won that game, and like, this is the stat about Quinn Hughes, like blah blah blah. Also, did you see his ugly ass beanie and his ugly ass suit? You know, and so I just want to be able to be both. Like, why not both? Definitely. Why can't we like sports and be serious about the sport and also find the players hot and want to talk about the funny gossip and drama? Because it's funny. At the end of the day, there's a reason why that stuff is all over online, because it is entertaining. Like, it is funny, and they
of course.
And at the end of the day, it's real people. Like, this is real people 100%. In their lives. So I think that it's funny to talk about it.
I absolutely love that. And I mean, I've listened to the episodes. I think you and Kylie have great chemistry together. I think you guys are super funny. But it is so true. It's like, reality TV is amazing. I love reality TV. And I kind of mentioned this in my last episode too. Like, sports is entertainment. And people like drama. People like to be entertained. And there is so much drama to talk about, and sometimes it's so amazing, like you said, to know the statistics. Like, you're watching really high level hockey right now in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, you're watching the Panthers and the Oilers play really well, but sometimes it's nice to talk about like the post-game interview where Matthew Tkachuk is like being a little bit annoying.
But like, I was like so excited for the series, but then I also was like, girls, the wag jackets, the wag
oh my god,
out.
Yes. We could have been talking about I
recapped all the wag jackets on my podcast, and so that's what I mean. Like, I was like, okay, let's talk about the pairings, and let's talk about the wags, because there's so much drama with the wag jackets. Like, it's so funny because, like, obviously I'm posted up watching the Oilers and the Panthers game, and then I'm on Instagram, and I'm like, oh my god, Leon Draisaitl's wife is on her bachelorette. They're watching the game from the plane right now with their champagne. Like, they're posting their outfits. They're like, go boys. They're supporting their men. And I'm like, why can't it be both? Why can't I watch the game
100%.
And also be looking at their Instagram stories and their Sports Club Atelier merch that I really want? Like, I severely would be I really want to be an Oilers fan just for the merch. Like, I really don't want to wear something that says loyal to the oil on it, but I would, because Lauren Kyle McDavid's, her merch slays so hard. Like, I'm like, this is the epitome of luxury.
Yeah, her merch specifically. I don't know about like the team store.
No, ugly, hideous, and like, but that's another thing that I've like become so passionate about. Is I'm like, why is every merch for all the teams fugly? Like, come on, step it up. And how much they're charging? I'm like, okay, at least charge for something cute. Like, please. Yeah. I seriously, I need more wags to step up, because they step out for the playoffs and stuff like that, there's a main wag that usually will design the jacket. But I'm like, girls, what about for the rest of the season? Like, why can't fans show up in anything other than a jersey?
Totally.
Like, please. It just really frustrates me because I'm like, I want to buy stuff and I don't want to make my own, because when I make my own, it looks janky and it looks like I made it. But everything's super ugly, and I'm very picky about what merch I will wear. Like, I won't just wear any merch. And so much of the Canucks stuff is ugly.
Well, I mean, and I've said this before, I want to do an episode with somebody who creates, like, not through the team store, because unfortunately a lot of the stuff that like Fanatics is putting out is ugly. And like you said, it's like, how come you can't do both? Like, how come you can't love fashion and like the games and know what's going on in sports? But the really cool thing is, like, now you can. There's still men who might give you shit for doing it, but it's like there's so many women out there like you, like Kylie, like me, like just so many women out there who are making it normal to be able to like both, to be girly, to go to the games, to like to look cute, to like to take pictures there, but also know what's going on and be able to follow along and love what's going on.
And care and engaged. Yeah,
it's amazing.
No, exactly.
Well, I love your show. Where can everybody find your podcast? Where do you put it out? And what is it called?
Our podcast is called Penalty Box Confessions. It's on Spotify and it's on YouTube. You can just look up Penalty Box Confessions and it should pop up. And yeah, we put out episodes every single week. I will say right now, our episodes have been a little bit like all over because it is off season. Right now, we're just kind of yapping about anything and everything in the Twitter hockeyverse and what's going on with the playoffs. So during the season, it will definitely ramp up a lot more because there will be a lot more content to talk about. And there is quite a bit of content already on there, even though we did start during the off season.
Everybody listening now, definitely go check out their podcast. It's so great, so funny. And I mean, if you like this podcast, I think you'll like their podcast too. All right, well, Rachel, I think that's everything that I have for you. Thank you so much again for coming on for the third time. Hopefully I can get you on more and more because I absolutely love our episodes. I think that they're so fun just chatting about hockey now.
Yeah, no, I love coming on.
All right, Rachel, well, I hope you have a great rest of your night, and thank you again.
Bye.
Thank you so much to Rachel for coming on. What a fun episode. I had an absolute blast, like I always do, talking to Rachel. Rachel and I, if you haven't listened to our backstory, our lore from the first episode that she was on, Rachel and I have been friends since my 4th year of university. No, my 3rd year, I think it was. It was my 3rd year of university. And we've been friends ever since. And we live in different cities, but, you know, we've always remained friends. Now that she's getting more into sports, our friendship has definitely evolved to including sports in the conversations, and it's so fun. I absolutely love it. But I am actually recording this conclusion quite a few days after I recorded with Rachel, and there has now since been 2 more games in the Stanley Cup Finals. This year's playoffs, I mean, all the rounds were really good, but this finals, usually I don't love a repeat matchup. I personally, I don't know. It's not really for me. I guess there is that whole redemption arc that you can get, but it's just like, we've already seen it. I think it's fun for something new, for fresh. I take it back. I take it all back. I am eating my words. This Stanley Cup playoffs is everything. I absolutely love it. I am so glad that I'm in Canada to be able to watch it. I would have been so disappointed if I still lived in London and was seeing all of this. Like, was it this entertaining last year? Let me know if it was. I posted a TikTok saying that, like, you know what? This might be giving the NFL playoffs a run for its money. Obviously, the format is so different, but the Stanley Cup playoffs are starting to give the NFL a run for its money. But what I will say is there's room for everybody. That's why I love sports, because there's so much going on and I love it. And it's the same with the NBA Finals. I severely hope both of these playoffs go to a Game 7 because I never want it to end. And it's been great. But anyways, speaking of the Stanley Cup Finals, when Rachel and I spoke last, Panthers-Oilers tied 1-1 in the series. Panthers did win the game afterwards, and it was a blowout. They won 6-1. There were a lot of fights though, which I love a hockey fight. I think that's the way to do it. If I played in the NHL and I was losing that badly, like it does kind of get to the point where it's like, okay, who cares? I'll just fight now then. Why not? Why not? We're not winning this game. We might as well just have some fun and fight. Even though I don't think fighting is fun. I never condone violence ever, except in a hockey fight. Reasonably, of course, reasonably, okay? They know the lines. They know their boundaries. I'm never endorsing extreme violence or injuries in these fights. I just need to put a little disclaimer there, but I love a hockey fight. Aside from that, I love a hockey fight. And then today is Friday. Yesterday, it goes to overtime. 3 of the 4 games have gone to overtime, and the only other game that didn't go to overtime was the game before that was 6-1 with all of the fighting. Come on. This is just too good, and I did post a TikTok recently saying that I don't watch a ton of hockey. I have a general pulse on what's going on, but majority of the hockey that I watch are either the Vancouver Canucks or the Minnesota Wild. So I'm sorry, between those 2 teams, I'm not getting a ton of hockey that is being played at the level that the Oilers and the Panthers are currently playing. So this is electric. This is absolutely electric, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and I'm sad that it's going to come to an end. I hope it goes to a Game 7, though. I hope it goes to a Game 7 because, again, being in the position where I'm not overly invested in either team. I will say I am rooting for the Oilers in this position. I am rooting for the Stanley Cup to come back to Canada. However, if they don't win, I'm not going to cry about it. But what I am going to say is I'm hoping for a Game 7 because I love the drama. I do feel for the fans of the Panthers and the fans of the Oilers because I genuinely can't imagine being in this situation. Having a repeat of last year, that's just stressful. Honestly, that's just stressful. And that's why I know that when the Minnesota Vikings eventually do make it to the Super Bowl, that's going to be the most stressful day of my whole entire life. And even if they win, it will be the best day of my life. But the stress during the game I feel a little queasy thinking about it, to be honest. So my heart goes out to every Oilers and every Panthers fan during this time. It's a stressful one. All right, I think that's enough for me. I'm gonna go get my nails done because my best friend is getting married tomorrow. Tomorrow is wedding day. It is a little bit difficult too because tomorrow is Game 5. And I imagine there's gonna be some phones out watching the game. I'm gonna be having a blast. I'm gonna be celebrating my best friend. So I'm not gonna be super locked into the game, but I will be wanting to know just a little touch of what's going on. And then Game 6, I'll be sat. I will be sat for Game 6. And hopefully Game 7 again. Just saying. Then we have the Montreal Grand Prix coming up this weekend too. That's going to be really fun. It's just a good time of year. I miss football. I miss football so much. But we've got Formula One, we've got hockey, we've got basketball, we've got the women's Euro starting. It's summertime. Life is good. Life is good. And before you know it, football is going to be back and life will be even better. But yeah, that's enough for me. I'm rambling now. I'm going to go. Thank you to Rachel for coming on. Everybody be sure to go check out her podcast with Kylie. Check out Penalty Box Confessions on YouTube and Spotify. I promise you will not regret it. They're absolutely amazing. And you all love Rachel, so you're gonna love Kylie too. They're such a fantastic dynamic duo. And thank you to every single person listening. I appreciate you so much. I would also really appreciate it if you liked the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. If you rated the episode, 5 stars would be best, but you do whatever you want to do. No pressure here, okay? But 5 stars would be best. But do what you want. Do what you want, okay? And wherever you're watching, Spotify, YouTube, it does give you the option to comment on the episode. So I'd love for you to leave your thoughts. Let me know what you thought. I'd love for you to just say hi, leave your thoughts, whatever you want to say. And if you want to reach out at all, let me know how you like the episode. I always love that too. All right, everybody, take care. Bye.